Welcome. Thank you so much for hopping on. If you are new to the call, this is our Wednesday heart-to-heart wellness discussion. We just want to welcome you in and thank you for being here. We've been doing these talks for the last few weeks and we've just had such a great response from them. I think really just the connection right now with where we are in the world and what's happening. It's just nice to step away from reality, away from social media, the news, and just tune into something positive, uplifting, and for some life-changing. We're going to share some really amazing information with you guys this afternoon that really changed a lot of our lives. So we're just really excited for that. I'm going to start a little bit about myself. My name is Julie Mai. I'm from the beautiful island of Kauai. Cool about what's so... Am I not muted? Okay, I think I'm okay. What's so cool about, these connections is that you can call in from all over the world. And we do have a few people from all over the world today that are going to share. So that's been really fun. So I'm a mama of 4 little incredible humans. So life is pretty busy. I'm married to an amazing man from the beautiful island of Huahine, which is in Tahiti. We have a jewelry business together that we started about 15 years ago. I met him in Tahiti, went there to go surfing after high school, and fell in love with the Tahitian pearl. And my mom was also a jeweler, so she taught me a few tricks of the trade, and I became a jeweler as well, and just really loved the creative outlet. And so we started this business together. We did quite well, I will say that. It still does well, but it's a lot of work. For any of you that has a home business or a business that you need to produce to make money, it is a lot. And so for me, I was open to the possibility of maybe doing something a little bit different that could complement my passion and my creative outlet, but wasn't sure what that was going to look like. And 7 years ago, a dear friend invited me to hear some information about a health product that was changing the health of her husband. At the time, he had an ailment that he was struggling with. So it got so bad that they were looking at a really scary surgery. So she shot me a text one day and say, "Hey, we found this amazing product that's really helping my husband. Would you want to hear about it?" And, of course, like maybe some of you hearing this information for the first time may have a little skepticism like I was, because there's so many things out there that say they're going to do X, Y, and Z, and they don't actually deliver, correct? So I was a little skeptical, but because I valued our friendship, because I respected her, I said, "I'll take a listen. I'm so happy that he doesn't need that surgery anymore." And you guys, I was blown away by what I heard. I truly was. I didn't know at the time. I thought, why doesn't everyone know about this? If this is real, this needs to be out there to the world. And I definitely want it in my body. So I knew I was going to do some research. I knew I was going to do my due diligence and do a little digging, which I did. And I found information about the company that spoke about the products and what it did. But I also found third-party validation. I found multiple prestigious universities that had been doing studies, these third-party studies, these peer-reviewed studies about our flagship product. If you don't know what a peer-reviewed study is, it's the most prestigious, highest level of scientific study there is. Basically, a scientist will write up a thesis or an overview of what he's studying, and then he has his peers come in and try to debunk his theory or his idea. And if they can't disprove him, then it's published as a peer-reviewed study, which is a really big deal. If you're in the healthcare industry, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm just going to share a little one of my, this is kind of what a peer-reviewed study looks like. This is just the abstract. So this is something that really caught my eye. I'm going to share this with you real quickly. Nrf2. Nrf2 is what our product does. It activates the Nrf2 pathway, which we're going to get into in a minute. It says Nrf2 may well become the most extraordinary therapeutic and most extraordinary preventative breakthrough in the history of medicine. It is our opinion that by raising Nrf2 is likely to be the most important health promoting approach into the foreseeable future. So when I read that, along with several others, and when I knew that our product was the only product on the planet that activated the Nrf2 pathway at such an immense level, I was like, I need that. I want that in me, and I want to share that with as many people as I can. So I started taking the product. First, before I share my testimony, I just want to say this. We are all natural. We are a health care product. We are herbs. We're not a drug. We're more like a food. So we got to be very careful about what we say. We can't make claims. We don't prevent, mitigate, or cure any disease. I just want to throw that out there to, protect mama, protect our company, but you can kind of put two and two together when you hear some of the presenters share their stories this afternoon, this evening. It's pretty remarkable. So I started taking the product right away. Within a week, I had more energy. I was sleeping better. I didn't really have many ailments, and I was pretty young 7 years ago, I guess you could say. I'm still pretty young, but I remember the friend that I started taking the product with called me one day, and she said, "Julie, are you happy? Like happier than like in a long time?" And I remember thinking for a second, going, well, I haven't fought with my husband. I haven't yelled at my kids in a few days. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy. And so I was like, what is this? And I realized that my body was, being activated. My body was actually starting to work at a higher level than it was in a while. And so that was really cool. But before I pass it over to the next presenter, I just want to share the one person that I really wanted to share this with was my mom, because my mom was in her mid-60s. She was struggling with her weight. She was struggling with depression. She wasn't in a very good place in her life. And I said, I'm going to see if this can make a difference in your life, Mom. Let's get you on this. And she started taking it. And in about a matter of months, I'd say 2 to 3 months, I started to see tremendous change in my mom's life. I mean, it got to the point where people would literally stop her in the street and be like, Jai, what are you doing differently? She lost a bunch of weight. She got a gym membership. She started working out. She actually was calling me to babysit my kids, which at that time was unheard of. So I was like, this is amazing. For those of you that love your moms, if your moms are happy, you're happy. And it just really made me happy to see her get to such a good place and be happy. And a lot of people can attest that know my mom. This had a huge impact on her. So I'm going to finish up my story at the end of the call so that we don't waste any more time, because we got some incredible presenters tonight. But as you listen to their stories, I want you to keep two things in mind. Number one is the word nutrigenomics. If you haven't heard of this word, nutrigenomics is the scientific study of nutrition and the way it affects our genes. And it truly is the future of medicine. And the second term I want you to think of is cellular activation. I know a few of you saw that on maybe a visual that was sent out to you. And basically that goes right into nutrigenomics. It's the way that we combine nutrition and herbs and synergistically put them together so we can flip the switch on and actually start making the enzymes that we need. We can activate our cells, and instead of having to supplement and take things, we actually make them. And to me, that made such sense, because our bodies are the magic machine here. Our bodies are what, is an amazing tool that we have as our bodies. So if we can activate them and get them working at the optimal level, then that is the key to optimal health. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to our first speaker today, this afternoon. Her name is Jennifer Murray. She has been a good friend for several years. She was actually introduced to me by one of my best friends that I grew up with. We met through this incredible business, and she is a vegan chef. She's one of the most health conscious and wise people I know when it comes to your health. She co-owned one of the most amazing vegan restaurants on the island of Kauai, in the whole state of Hawaii. In my opinion, I still miss that restaurant. She has a great sense of humor, business savvy, and just all around incredible human being. So Jennifer, I'm going to pass it over to you to share a little bit of your wisdom with us.
Oh, thanks, Julie, so much. Thanks for throwing those big words out there and setting the stage. If you have a pen, if this information is new to you, you might want to jot some things down, because, the reason we call this a heart-to-heart is we try to get on here and convey, what the different people who are doing this, who we are, and maybe why, what inspired us to take the step into creating a business around these products. So much like Julie, much like Julie's mom, I had a really, a very clear experience of going from being in a lot of pain to not being in pain. And the general formula for people who take our products, which the main product is called Protandim, the main brand. The formula is take it for 1 month for every decade that you've been alive before you really can assess and judge what it's doing for you. And for me, I was only going to give it 1 month. I wanted to get my friend, I just wanted to support her in her new business and move on with my life. I just said, if I take this for a month, will you stop asking me about this? And she agreed. And so I was just so lucky and blessed to have, even though I was 38 at the time, to have an experience so fast where so much pain left my body. I couldn't ignore it. I had to research it. I had to know more. And what I found was this cellular activation story. And it's a profound story, and it's something that we can't really totally cover in these, 30 minutes that we're going to be here. But we have a lot in common, right? We see a lot of differences, but we have a lot of common. We're all sitting here with like 30 trillion cells, right? And I've come to realize that the health of those cells, the vibrant health of those cells, is so crucial to feeling good and living a life without pain. And so I'm just going to try and explain our main 3 products, this Protandim brand, a little bit, so that when we go on to the other presenters, you have an idea what we're talking about. We have this brand, it's called Protandim. Each of them comes, in a little bottle or also in packets. And these cellular pathways, like the NRF2 that Julie was talking about, they're a little bit above my pay grade as far as truly understanding cell pathways and protein pathways and all these ways that the cells, interact. But what I did come to know is that this thing called aging, we're all going through it, right? We are all aging. I was 38 years old when this product came to me, and I was feeling like 80. Like, I was like, why am I experiencing so much pain? I'm young. I shouldn't be, feeling debilitated. And come to find out, that this aging process just works really differently through all of us. But we're all experiencing these same things. And whereas the NRF2 cell pathway is really tightly related to oxidative stress, which is cellular stress, which is basically each and every cell getting a little too overloaded with its waste management department, let's say. And that's happening every day and compounding every day. And then we have the NRF1 cell pathway, and this deals with mitochondria, mitochondrial health, the energy cycle of your cells, like what gives you all the energy that you need to carry on in a day, like no small thing, right? But when it compounds daily with just a little bit of damage, it adds up over the years. And then this NAD pathway, probably the most well-known of all the pathways, out in the mainstream, world of knowledge. This is such a huge one as well. I mean, this is brain cell health, right? This is a pathway that's very, very responsible for how we age and capable of slowing down the aging process. And they say even reversing the aging process if you are able to increase your body's natural supply of NAD. NAD, activates these sirtuins in your cell, and these sirtuins will kick in your survival genes when you need them. So these are big topics, and they create, a very massive effect. One thing that's really big in our company is this concept called synergy. Things working together to create a result that's beyond what they would seem to add up to. And I'll just close by saying I look at these like Protandim, these 3 cell pathways, as sort of like if you have like a high school basketball team and you add 3 NBA players onto it, one by one, that team is getting exponentially better, right? So these, as far as how we're operating on a cellular level, it's a boost and a kick up, and we have all the science to prove it, like Julie said. And so just worth a try if you're one of these people like me who's aging. So thanks, Julie, for having me on.
Oh, awesome. I love that analogy. I would, if I have a basketball team, I want as many NBA players on it as possible, please. And I think that's what, we're so excited about is we started off with just one product, but because our science is so amazing and sought after, that we have attracted more incredible scientists to come. And we've realized that, that's what it's all about, is really helping our bodies make its own natural God-given enzymes enzymes, antioxidants, glutathione, and all that, so that we can really live at that ultimate health. And one thing, you know, is I remember when I started learning about this, is we look at disease, or the aging process isn't a disease, but all that the diseases normally trickle down as we age. And that is because when we age, what happens is we stop making a lot of these things. So if we can flip the switch on again and start to make these again and slow that process down, like Jennifer was saying, then I'm all in. And I think everybody that can understand the science will feel the same. So on to our next presenter tonight. I'm going to introduce the incredible Tara Finley. She is she's calling in from St. Martin, and that's why I love what we do. She is actually on a sailboat right now with her husband, John, and their son, Jackson. And kind of when all of this craziness in the world went down, that's where they were. And so that's where they're riding out the storm. Tara is incredibly innovative. From what I'm getting to know about her, we're just, you know, starting to become good friends. She, I think she's owned a spa, she's owned a mobile massage business. She really likes to be able to travel and do things, you know, as she goes. And I think that's why this was such a good fit for her. But she can maybe, you know, add to the story. I believe she didn't know what a profound effect these products were going to have on her life. And you're going to hear a little bit about that. And I think now it's her sole goal to really help as many people as she can because of what it's done for her. So Tara, go ahead and take it away and share with us.
Thanks, Julie. Hi, guys. Yeah, it's Tara. I am a massage therapist. I was a massage therapist before the whole coronavirus thing went down. And my husband and my son and I decided to jump on our sailboat and self-isolate in the Caribbean. But I want to share with you more about my journey to health. I gave birth in 2012, and my health really took a turn for the worse. I developed this inflammatory skin disorder. It was painful, it was shameful, and it took 4 years to properly diagnose. And when I did get it diagnosed, I was basically dealt a life sentence. I was told it was incurable, it was untreatable unless I wanted to be on antibiotics for the rest of my life. And I was also so far gone that I needed to have surgery twice. And both times they took 8 months to heal from. And it came back anyways. And so I decided to take the matters into my own hands, and I started with my diet. And I got onto this really super strict autoimmune protocol diet. And I also modified with some biohacking of my hormonal system. And it worked, but I was still stuck. It still wasn't working, and I was still living with this disorder. So, and I felt just okay, and I was exhausted, and I was afraid to eat food, and I'm pretty sure I had orthorexia. I'd given up on my fitness, which is something that devastated me and made me depressed because, I mean, I'm all things outdoors, mountain biker, snowboarder, I run, anything outdoors, I want to be there. And then I was introduced to the concept of cellular activation through a friend, cellular activation and the concept of oxidative stress. And when she shared it with me, I was like, you know what have I got to lose? So I started looking into it, and I started activating my cells, and I realized that I held the key to unlocking my health. And it has been a game changer for me. I have way more energy. I sleep better, like everybody's been saying. I don't get sick as much. And I deal as a massage therapist with like a ton of people all day long, different people from all around the world. I have had a complete return to my fitness and then some. I'm fitter now. I'm in more capacity now than I did before I had kids. In fact, last year I just signed up for, trained, and competed in my first off-road triathlon, and I won my category. But the best thing is that I'm flare-free. I haven't had a flare for a year and a half. I've reintroduced my trigger foods. I'm no longer orthorexic, and I can handle the stress of traveling, and I can handle the stress of eating socially again, which are huge for me. And what's great is that I can actually finally look to the future because I'm not stuck mending my body anymore. It's no longer letting me down. and I can trust it again. And so I'm just urging you, if you're just hearing about this for the first time, if you have any friends with chronic illness, chronic health conditions, it's my mission to share this with others. And I really hope it can be your mission too. And that's it. Thank you.
Aw, my heart. That is amazing, Tara. Every time I hear your story, I'm just like, this is the reason I think I'm so passionate for this, of what we do, because it's like one person tells one person who tells one person who absolutely changes people's lives. And that's incredible. So thank you for sharing and taking the time. It looks like it's dark there. I know we're 6 hours different. So thank you so much for taking the time. I'm going to hop right on over to our next presenter, Miss, I'm looking at my gallery view here. We have the amazing Debbie Cottrell. Now, this is a mama mentor of mine personally. Debbie has 7 children, not just a mama of 7, but she is one of the most graceful, kind, calm, faith-driven women I know, and she's just a really incredible inspiration for me on a multiple reasons. She's also the wife of our scientific guru, Rusty Cottrell, who luckily for us lives on our beautiful island, who's been such an impactful piece of our business and really helping us understand the science that we're forever grateful for. So Debbie, we would love for you to share a little bit about your story, if you will hop on over.
Thank you, Julie. You're so sweet. I'm going to mute all first so that the people that hop on will be quiet, and then I will unmute. Can you hear me? Okay, very good. Thank you again. That was a very kind introduction. My story starts with becoming a dietitian and being taught basically how to put a Band-Aid over a symptom. And I wasn't happy with that. I wanted to get down to the crux of the matter. I wanted to figure out what causes illness and how can we help people prevent illness. So I spent most of my time in my continuing education looking into preventative medicine and realized that there's a lot that we can do to help our bodies to function properly. I mean, our bodies are designed to function like a well-oiled machine, and everybody knows a well-oiled machine has to be taken care of. So learning how to take care of it, and in the process of my learning, I was attempting to apply everything I could. I was eating, as probably more clean than many people that I know of, although there's many people on this that I know now eat very clean. Whole foods, eaten whole, mostly plants, and not too much. I was about 80 to 85% raw, vegan, and exercise 5 to 6 days a week, out in fresh air, get plenty of sunlight at the right times, drinking clean water. I was doing all the things that I knew to do. And yet, at the age of about 50, I started noticing that my heart and my lungs weren't functioning like they're supposed to. And it was a little distressing because I realized at that time I was really starting to age faster than I wanted to. And fast forward about 3 years, this came across our plate. And I looked briefly at it and I went, I do not need another job, as Julie said. I was a busy mom, homeschooling, taking care of the house. I was working at my husband's office, being the office manager, helping with the billing and taking care of all of that. And the last thing I needed was another job. I didn't realize the extent of what this all was. And my daughter hounded my husband and he finally broke down. He looked at it and then he's jumping in with both feet. And I went, okay, wow, I like to be a supportive wife. I'm going to have to take a look at this with my dietitian glasses, and I'm not going to share a snake oil with anybody. That was probably my biggest fear, was, because there's a lot of stuff out there and I've looked at a lot of things and a lot of it doesn't really have good scientific backing. So that's what I looked at, was the science. I wanted to see if there was good scientific backing to this. And as Julie mentioned, there is so many wonderful peer-reviewed articles that are out there that from third-party universities and things, Harvard, Mayo, Ohio State, Louisiana State. They are doing it at their own cost, and they're looking at these things. And I began to realize what an incredible find this was. This was what I'd been looking for, something that would actually help the body to prevent, the illnesses and things that come with the aging process, as our body begins to break down, at least to slow it. I mean, we all will age eventually, but we want to age slower and more gracefully. So I jumped in with my husband and I started taking this, and he laughs at me every time because he says, you're pessimistic. I go, I don't know. It didn't even cross my radar that this would help my health. And I just knew it was good for me. So I started taking it. And lo and behold, within about 4 weeks, I started to see my heart was functioning like it was supposed to. And then when the NRF1 came out, in about 3 weeks' time, I started seeing a huge difference in the function of my lungs. And when they came out with the skincare that was NRF2 activated, I could see a change in my skin, and it wasn't aging at the rate that it had been aging at before. And then the hair care with the NRF2 activation, my hair's fuller, thicker. I have been absolutely blown away by the incredible activation that we can give to our bodies to make them function like they're supposed to and in a healthy way. And for those of you who may be skeptical, I understand completely. I was there. And I just want to encourage everybody that hasn't heard about this, take a good look at it. If you're geeky like I am, delve into the science, take some look at it. I think probably one of the most exciting things for my husband and I isn't just watching our health change. It was being able to share this with other people and seeing the lives of countless people change as their health improved. And not only that, the financial aspect, some of you know, we lost our retirement in the 2008 market crash. And we just figured we'd be going, welcome to Walmart, or here, have this sample at Costco. And, in our 80s. And we were last year able to retire because of the incredible business that's attached to these incredible activators. And we are so grateful that someone cared enough to share this with us. And it's been just a wonderful ride. So I'll turn it back over to you, Julie.
Aw, heart melt. I love that. And it's so true. It's like, oh man, when you have something so incredible, you just want to get out there and share it. But I was like you, there's skepticism just because there is so much out there. And so, if you are hearing this information for the first time, like Debbie said, do your due diligence, go out there and research this, get with the person that invited you to this call. They can give you the right direction on where to find the real science, and don't just go Google it, because you know how Google is. So don't do that. But thank you for sharing. There is such an incredible, business side to this as well, which in the beginning, I think we were all just really passionate about the products. And for me, like, I always believed, like you, if I ate good, if I exercised, because I didn't really believe in supplementation. I just felt like we took it, we peed it out. I really honestly didn't believe in it until I really understood activation. And then I also realized how many people we could help with this, because not everyone's going to go get a gym membership. Not everyone's going to go eat organic or shop at Whole Foods, but a lot of people will take a pill because they're used to that. So that's really what I fell in love with and realized the impact that we can have on the world and with people's health. So thank you, Debbie, so much for sharing. Next up, we have Megan McNally. She is calling in today, zooming in from the beautiful state of Washington. She lives there with her husband, Brendan, and their fur baby. And I'm just getting to know Megan. She is part of this incredible team of ours. I don't know her that well, but I know she is a kind soul. She has a doctorate in naturopathic medicine. She is passionate about helping others live the most healthy life through diet and exercise and natural healing. And we're really excited, Megan, to hear a little bit about your story before we wrap up this call. So go ahead and share with us.
Thank you, Julie, for letting me join the group today and share my story as well. And I can't even tell you how exciting this company and the information is to me. I just, because I'd love to tell you a bit about myself, just so you know some background before I get started, but I have grown up with a very natural lifestyle. We lived out in the woods in North Carolina. We grew up on natural remedies and very rarely ever went to the doctor unless we're like fainting on the floor or something. I mean, I just have loved seeing research and information about how to help the body heal itself as naturally as possible, use natural remedies and hydrotherapy. And I decided when I got older that I wanted to be able to go into something that does that for people, be able to help their bodies be the best possible through natural means and avoid use of synthetic drugs and substances for the rest of their life. And I just started delving into research, spent the last 5 years really researching, getting my degree. As I started working with different family members and friends that were dealing with health struggles, I began to start seeing that there's some pieces of the puzzle that are missing. Like, why are different people doing exactly the right things with their lifestyle, with the food that they're eating, with their exercise and sleep? They're taking a ton of supplements, which I really, at that point, believed were such a good thing. Why aren't they getting better? And it perplexed me. It was especially my parents and even myself. I was dealing with some major back pain from an injury, and no amount of physical therapy or anything seemed to get rid of that pain. And so I couldn't figure out what to do. And that's when this information came to me. And then as I started looking at the research, I didn't know what activation was before I heard about LifeVantage. All I knew about was supplementation. And I didn't even know that these pathways existed. It's very new research. Hardly any doctors have ever heard of these pathways. And I started looking at how it works in the body, and I realized this is a huge factor for maintaining our health. So I started telling people about it, and it started really helping them. And even after several months, my back pain itself got better. And I was so relieved I could start living the active lifestyle that I used to live. I love activities, but after just a short amount of time, I'd be in pain and just have to push through it and forget about the pain because I wanted to have the active lifestyle anyway. So it's a relief that I can tell people how to be active and be healthy through this activation. And what's cool about activation is that it's actually supplying what the body needs, and it's activating the cell's own ability to produce what it needs. You're not filling it with a bunch of stuff that it doesn't need. And actually, there's some research that shows that if you're giving too much antioxidant supplementation through different potions and berries and whatever, you may be extending the life of the cell too long, and it can become dysfunctional and diseased. But the really cool thing is about cellular activation is that it's actually turning on the natural function of the cell so that it dies at the proper time and it doesn't stick around too long. You want new cells and old cells dying off. So that's really cool to me. But the research is just outstanding about Protandim, about what's behind this company. And the company makes sure that they have really good quality control. They don't go to the standard of just monitoring every 10 to 20 lots of batches of Protandim. They make sure that every single batch actually activates the cell pathway that they say it will. So backing up to when I first learned about this company, I was at a point in my life where we had just gotten married, my husband, Brendan. We had been praying that we would be located in a small town. And I didn't realize at the time what that meant for us. Going to a small town is so much healthier, less stress, better environment out in nature, so much more. But you also have less of ability to actually have a business and practice that's able to sustain a full income. And when I moved here, naturopaths were actually closing down their practices because there just aren't enough people to be able to pay their bills of their of the building that they're working in, and insurance and all that different stuff that comes with that. So I thought, well, what do I do? My husband said, well, it's okay. You can just, stay at home. I'll support our family. And I was thankful for that he had that mindset. But I knew in the back of my mind that I have this degree and I want to use it. I want to be able to work, help support my family, but eventually be able to also have as my end goal some sort of business where I can be able to homeschool my kids, stay with them, not have someone else raising them. And I was praying for what I should do at that point, and that's where I learned about LifeVantage. And the really cool blessing is that anybody can do this. You don't have to have a degree in health. You can just be an everyday person telling people to look at this third-party validation, look at this information that you have. You can refer them to someone else that has the information to talk to, and anybody can do it. And I see so many people now that are in work environments that are not conducive to their health. I'm seeing it more and more and more. There's chemical exposure, there's stress from fellow employees or from work overload, way too many hours, night shifts, and they're not getting well because of their work. They may not even have time to focus on their health because they have no time for themselves. So having another option for work is critical for people to have the optimal rounded lifestyle and health experience. So for us, I thought that we were okay. We don't have too many costs in our life. We'll live on my husband's income and I'll just do this and start to grow it and build it. And as I continue to share with people, and I didn't realize what a blessing it was going to be, just 3 months ago, we hit a crisis in our life where we ended up having thousands of dollars that we had to pay out all at once. And if I had not had this business, I don't know what we would have been able to do about that. And I would have had to probably, if I was at another workplace, stop working, focus on our family, and just, completely concentrate. And it was such a blessing to have this, to be able to have an income and still be able to focus a big chunk of my time on my family. So it's a blessing in many ways to people, from their health to their work. And I hope that it's something that you will check out too, because LifeVantage is an amazing company that's growing and getting more and more research, and it's researching more and more on different cell pathways and how to better our health. And it's definitely information that you want to check out too. So I'll turn it back over to Julie.
Oh, Megan, mic drop. That was incredible. Thank you for sharing your story, the whole thing, you guys. I have a lot more to my story that I want to share with you, but for time's sake, I'm not going to share the rest of it. But that was really, you kind of summed it up. I think what I'll finish with, you guys, is the world is changing. I think I was just reading something, or I know I was just reading something last night saying how many small businesses are going to be closing, not just because of the pandemic, but just because of what's happening in the world alone. When you look around your town or where you live and just think about how many stores have already closed, things are changing. People are looking for different ways to make money. And really, we're more in a connective economy than ever. And if you can build a business on a sailboat in St. Martin, or on an island on Kauai, or in Washington, or wherever you may be, it's all about connecting. It's all about sharing stories. You guys, we have, as you've heard, something really special, something really incredible. The best thing about this is we get to do it together. It's a team effort. Maybe I'll leave you with one tip. Look up the difference between linear income versus leveraged income. And that's something that I really love to share about, but I'm going to wrap it up because I don't want to take too much time. But maybe if you hop on with me next week, you'll hear more of me share that. But linear income is you go to work by yourself, you clock in, you clock out. 40 years later, you hope to retire in. Leveraged income is where you go to work and you get paid over and over and over. And that's what we do, you guys, is we work with a team of people. We create an engine that will continue to pay us so that we can get our time back. Like Megan said, I was in the same boat as her. I wanted to raise my babies. I didn't want someone else to raise my babies because I was hammering out jewelry all day. So if you feel us, if you hear us, our hearts are with you. No matter where you are right now with the state of what's going on, just know that you're being prayed for, you're being thought of. I'm just so grateful for this group of people. Thank you for tuning in with us tonight, or today, tonight, wherever you may be. And please get back with the person that invited you to get more information. We do these weekly, so just know that we're here. And with that, I'm going to end the call. So aloha, everybody. We'll talk soon.